New map revisions and the death of World of Tanks on the North American server. Is this the possible end for World of Tanks? Let's find out. Okay folks, today is Tuesday, February 6th, 2018. Man, January flew by, did it not? Today we're going to be taking a look here at some revisions to some of the maps for World of Tanks. First up is Fisherman's Bay. As you can see in the video, they've laid out the 4 central zones that they have to rework. And some of the revisions that have been made is over on the west flank, where the northern side had an advantage. They've kind of flattened that out, and they've added in new defensive positions for the south spawn, so that the north doesn't have such an obvious advantage right off of the bat. Now, as we look through the photos here of what's being revised on the maps, we also notice that in the center of the map they're changing up, opening it up a little bit more. And they say that they're going to fix it so that tanks getting up there do not need such a dramatic gun depression. They hope to open this up and increase further gameplay up through the center. Now, what does this pertain for Fisherman's Map, or Fisherman's Bay? Really is waiting to be determined by the players, actually. Now, next up is Runeberg. Now, taking a look at Runeberg here, you'll notice that they've redesigned the corner of the building here on the main thoroughfare. It looks like it's been a demolished building with a pathway through, and they're saying for the faster tanks on the south spawn to be able to get there and defend against the one block there on the map, if you're looking at it, against tanks getting there and firing straight down the thoroughfare at the tanks that are in the roundabout. Now, they've also added in a new hiding spot for the roundabout, so players from the south can also defend from there. Now, the next big change looks like Pilsen. Pilsen is getting a major rework. Now, as you can tell, the 2 buildings on the west of Pilsen, where everybody likes to gather inside the buildings and fire across the opening at the others, is getting an expansion in between the buildings, actually. They're widening the gap between the buildings, making it harder for tanks to sit inside the buildings and fire at other tanks. This will, I believe, increase the number of tanks that actually camp in those buildings, in my honest opinion. Now, the building in the very center of the map has actually been closed off in a couple of locations, and a couple other locations have been, looks like, funneled. So that will decrease the number of people sitting on either side of that building and trying to snipe through and, getting took down before you can actually get anywhere. Some of the other big modifications to the map is the center of the eastern flank, which was normally just wide open, and only people that really wanted to go there were fast tanks and maybe an arty occasionally, maybe a TD, but very rarely would you find mediums or heavies pushing that area because it was so open. Now they've changed that. They've made that into coal fields right in the center, with each one of the corners on the west flank, instead of being depressions, are now actually going to be hills for tank destroyers to line up down the 1 line. And over on the 0 line, they've actually added in a new railway to give a wide open push along through, with nothing but bushes for cover on one edge, where you can, if you're speedy enough, get through there. But the problem is there's probably going to be something waiting for you. Some of these new hills and depressions and stuff are going to definitely change the gameplay on this map. Also, they've made this a larger map, 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. Now, on to the main headline in World of Tanks this week. It was announced last Friday by WOT that tournaments will no longer take place on the North American server. Ute is also leaving Wargaming in his capacity as Wargaming League administrator. We will sadly miss Ute. And as for the demise of World of Tanks on North American server, it's looking like it's not going to be fully packed like what it used to be. Already player counts are down, numbers are dropping, player base is dropping. Unknown what the reasoning behind this is, but one thing is known for sure: the fans are not happy with this. Wargaming has said that they are working on a new tournament system that will take place, but for 2018, tournaments are done. While tournaments are still left open for Strongholds and Tier 8s, Clan Wars, Silver League, all of those done. I mean, it's pretty much actually killed a lot of the interest in the game for some of the top tier players, some of the better players. Don't get me wrong, while revising maps and bringing in Core as a new redesigned physics engine and everything for the game, graphics engine and stuff, it may entice some new players, but I honestly think that World of Tanks might be on a downward spiral here in the North American server unless they can actually bring some major new improvements and new blood to the game and get our interest back. Frankly, this is a decision that is entirely up to Wargaming, how they want to handle their player base on the North American server. Do they wish to keep that player base? Do they just not even care about the North American server anymore? Or are they planning something amazing, something that's just going to blow our minds when they actually release it? We just have to wait and see. For those diehard fans that want to stick around and see, you know, it might be worth the wait. But for those that want to venture on to something else, you know, now might be the perfect time. It might be the push they need to get out the door and find something else. Until next time, Tankerunknown, and I'll see you in my sight.